It's about time that I get to see what's coming in the Affliction League. Let's jump right into it.
Well, let's just go ahead and get straight on into it. Here's the trailer for Path of Exile Affliction.
Ooh, the trailer.
Something moves in the mists and fights. Accept our help. The
Ooh,
ancient power
wait.
of the Asmiri.
Another skill tree?
Beware the spirits that yearn for freedom.
How many skill trees are we gonna get?
And the heart of evil.
Oh, they're ascendancies. Wait, are we gonna be able to use like our normal ascendancies on top of those ones? Or are these replacing those ones? Like, do you get to choose? Who's that?
Ready yourself.
Ultimatum.
I will be waiting.
That thing's crazy. Okay. So the trailer just gave me more questions and answers. Hopefully we'll get some answers here.
In the Affliction League, you will encounter sacred wisps, which beckon you to enter overgrown passageways that lead to the Viridian Wildwood. A vile affliction has covered this forest with a foreboding darkness. You'll need to uncover the forest mysteries to put a stop to the source of the affliction, that emerge to kill you.
Oh, so you get like a barrier from the wisps.
The darkness. The Wildwood is trying to guide you towards clues about its affliction. Follow the trails of wisps by collecting them, and you may uncover many different secrets. New characters to find, shrines, boss battles, and all kinds of new encounters are lurking in the forest.
So now you gotta follow paths.
There are many rewards to earn for those brave enough to seek them.
So it's like you gotta reveal the map slowly by running these wisps over it.
When the wisps run out of energy, they will return you back to where you came from.
And you're kind of on a time crunch, it looks like.
Any other types of wisps you have collected will return with you to Rayclast. These wisps, having been saved from the affliction, disperse into the environment and inhabit randomly chosen monsters in the area.
Oh no. We all know what happened to my first, well, if you didn't know, a lot of the bosses I fought in my first playthrough had already been affected by the tormented ghosts, or whatever they are. So, if I run into one of those bosses that's affected by a tormented ghost on top of these things, oh no. I'm already worried about that.
Increasing their power and also their rewards.
Great.
The different types of wisps have different.
Don't get me wrong, it's cool, but I'm worried.
More than one type will inhabit a single monster, making the fight even harder and even more rewarding. If this happens
Wait,
to a boss,
they can get affected by all three of them?
If you can overcome it, your efforts will not be in vain. Primal wisps grant an item rarity bonus to inhabited monsters. Wild wisps grant an item quantity bonus, and vivid wisps cause them to drop currency items.
Oh, vivid wisps are gonna be the go-to, I'm assuming. Hey, nice divine orb.
While exploring the Wildwood, you might find some of the last few Asmiri wanderers who have managed to survive in the forest since it was cursed. Each of them have different survival specializations, and they are willing to teach you if you agree to help them defeat the source of the affliction, the King in the Mists. Choose which of the Asmiri that you will complete quests for to unlock one of 3 new ascendancy classes, which you can have in addition to your regular ascendancy class.
So we too get both ascendancies. So you could still go like Juggernaut and then pick one of these 3. So even more like build customization.
Up to 8 points for these classes are unlocked as you complete more quests for the Asmiri you are training under. The Warden of Eves can teach you to become a Warden of the Magi, a powerful class that takes advantage of wilderness knowledge. A Warden of the Magi can learn to use tinctures which coat their weapon, granting various powerful effects. You can equip tinctures in your flask slots and toggle them on and off at will. You can only have one enabled
That's
at a
pretty
time,
cool.
but the effects are quite conditional,
You'll have
so you may want to
tinctures.
have more than one equipped and swap between them during combat.
Although it does take up a potion slot, but I guess a lot of
For
times you
example,
don't really need
equip
all
the
of them.
Ironwood tincture to gain the benefit of. As a Warden of the Magi gains more ascendancy points, they gain access to more skills that let them further specialize in tinctures. For example, Nature's Concoction allows you to invest in having your tinctures enhance your flasks. This ascendancy skill makes it important to think about which slots your tinctures are placed in, and what flasks they are adjacent to. You'll have better uptime on those flasks, and they'll be stronger as a result.
So they can also
There are
synergize
plenty
with
more
the
skills to
potion
choose,
or with your
even if you
flasks.
don't want to engage with tinctures.
Okay, so that's really good for like a juggernaut or something that builds the passive that converts all your evasion into armor then, right? Because you would basically just always have a constant increase to armor. Is there another one that turns armor into evasion? Or is that not a thing? But either way, if it does, both of those would be good.
You can only have one type active at a time, so it's a good idea to choose wisely for the area that you are in.
So I guess on
Some
maps where
bosses
like
like
they're
the Raven
inhabited by
are
one
eldritch in
type,
nature
that'd be
and
really
don't
good to
conform the
run.
regular corpses that you have access to. But don't worry. The Breaker of Oaths has a shop where you can trade wild wisps for corpses that you can place on the ground wherever you are.
You can just buy corpses too.
Buy an Eldritch Corpse and you will be able to get the bonus while fighting Eldritch entities like the Maven. You might want to try turning some of these corpses into specters, to take advantage of some of the unique abilities that these monsters have.
What? You can even reanimate these corpses into like minions for yourself?
The Warlock of the Mists gets access to many other abilities. For example,
And some of these are probably pretty strong. Turn them into
one
little
of them
bombers.
prevents enemies from dealing damage for the latter portion of its duration, which is quite powerful against bosses.
Oh, that would be good.
This
Yeah, I was
curve
just gonna
creates
say
the
against some
interesting
of the
build decision
bosses that
whether
have
or
like
not you
one-shot
should increase curse
mechanics.
duration or reduce it. The final curse is a mark that causes enemy phantasms to be spawned when you hit the marked enemy. These phantasms aren't on your side, so they work well with on-hit and on-kill trigger effects, for example.
So are those just like
The
little
primal
units that are
hunters can teach you
summoned
to
that
become a
get
Wildwood
one-shot by
primalist.
everything? But I guess they'd be good
Unlike the
for
other new
skills that give you
ascendancies, the
stacks
primal
for killing
huntress lets you
things and stuff
customize
like
your
that.
tree.
Ooh, like a wild card one too.
Charms have randomly generated mods, which give stats from regular ascendancies.
So they really just said, we're gonna give you more ascendancies, and if you don't like these ones, you can just go make your own. Man, there's so much to like look over, and gonna be a lot for me to realize, or a lot for me to learn.
Allowing you to use war cries next to corpses, and they have a chance to drop an extra item.
That.
It opens nearby chests too.
Ooh, okay. So you can like re-roll loot
The
on
Primalist
things that
also
might
gets
not have dropped
access to a
anything.
small extra backpack, just in case you find yourself needing to cart more items to town during your map runs.
That's a nice touch.
If you are unhappy with the class you picked, or you just happen to find a really great item for another one of the classes, you are able to change which class you are using next time you find one of the Asmeri Wanderers. Just remember that you will have to do their quests in order to gain the ascendancy points for that class. These quests will
I
lead
was
you
wondering
towards the
how you
ultimate
got
goal of the
ascendancy
Asmeri,
points in those.
finding the King in the Mists,
Looks like they've all got their own
defeating
little
him,
quest
and
lines.
cleansing the forest of its affliction once.
So I assume they're gonna have to rework the Atlas tree again? Or are they gonna add like the little nodes for this? I would assume so.
Now that we've covered what's in the league, let's talk about some of the changes you can expect to the core game in 3.23. For a start, Ultimatum is finally going core. When talking to players at ExileCon, it was the #1 feature that people requested. When playing through in-game maps, you may
Oh, so
sometimes
this was like an
encounter the
older
Trial
league
Master,
mechanic.
who offers you a choice to undertake a deadly Val trial in exchange for great rewards. If you defeat the trial, he offers to go double or nothing with you. Do you take the risk
Oh,
and go for
no.
an even better reward? Or do you take the winnings you have already earned off the table and go home? We've done a full rebalance of Ultimatum and have added many new
I'm gonna
mods and
wipe so
rewards,
many times to this stuff
including both new and
because
regular
I
features.
don't know when like
The
where
base
my
number of
limits
rounds
are.
for an Ultimatum trial is now always
That's
10,
not good.
with a chance to spawn the Trial Master boss fight on the 10th round, if you are able to make it that far. As part of 3.23,
Goes up to 10
we've
rounds?
also removed Metamorph from the game. All the Catalyst rewards from Metamorph
Wait, they're removing Metamorph. Have they removed older mechanics that have become core before, or is this like a first?
have now been moved to be rewards for Ultimatum. We have also added a new Val-themed catalyst. That
Okay, I
works
was
on
gonna say,
corrupted
so
items.
you can still get the catalysts.
As
They
is
just
normal
come
for
from
most
this
content that
instead.
gets added to in-game, we have introduced new Ultimatum passive skills to the Atlas tree.
Okay, and then they're probably just gonna take the Metamorph nodes off of the Atlas skill tree and swap those with Ultimatum.
One great example is the Keystone Grueling Gauntlet. It
That's
makes
smart.
ultimatums last 3 extra rounds, but you cannot choose the modifiers, and it prevents the final Trial Master boss fight from spawning. The level of challenge becomes extreme during the last 3 rounds, and not being able to choose the modifiers makes it even harder. But the rewards are insane, and for those with very high-end characters, it might be a bet worth making. There are lots of other
Hey,
passive
it's
skills
like
you can pick
pretty
from
much
for
my old
Ultimatum,
ground
so
slam
choose
build,
wisely.
actually.
Now, it's time to talk about one of the largest metagame changes we've ever made. There were 3 systems in Path of Exile that were all trying to subtly modify the behavior of skills. These were alternate quality gems, Labyrinth Helmet enchants, and unique threshold jewels. We've combined all of these together to create a new system called Transfigured Gems that allows us to fully achieve the goal of these 3 systems and then some. Transfigured Gems are alternative versions of existing skill gems that have different functionality and balance from their regular versions. We have added a huge number of these with interesting variations that drastically change how existing skills play.
Ooh. So even more gems to look out for and farm for? But I guess if they change the way that abilities work, I'm assuming that opens up more builds, which is cool.
For example,
Assuming they're
Frostbomb of
viable.
Instability. It changes it from a cooldown skill that you can cast occasionally for a large explosion into a skill that you can cast continuously but deals less damage and doesn't apply cold exposure.
Ah, okay.
It changes the role of Frostbomb from a utility skill into a main damaging skill. Another example is Detonate Dead of Scavenging. You can't use it on corpses that were created by Desecrate or Unearth, but in exchange it does a whole lot more damage. You won't be able to use it as your main reliable source of damage, but it's a great skill to use as a Falling utility to get some extreme burst damage. Raise Zombie of Falling. Instead of raising a zombie from a corpse, you summon them from mid-air. They fall to their death, dealing angry
Okay.
damage.
Who came up with this idea? I like it. You can summon corpses to fall from the sky and deal damage to enemies. That is something I never thought I would see.
Where they land. While this sounds like a physical damage version of Firestorm, you should consider that it scales with minion damage and also triggers on-death minion effects.
Oh. So you could do like a build that just buffs your minions and run something like this as like maybe a core damage skill. Huh.
Blight of Contagion. This version of Blight is now spread by Contagion, so you can use it as part of your Essence Drain build. We have a huge number of these. Transfigure Firestorm into Firestorm with Meteors, Transfigure Blade Trap into Blade Trap of Greatswords, Transfigure Barrage into Barrage of Volley Fire, and so on. There is a lot to experiment with, and we look forward to seeing what builds you can come up with. But how do you get Transfigured Gems? The Divine Font at the end of the Eternal Labyrinth has been changed to a gem crafting device that can modify your skill and
So we can't like it removes the crafting options.
support
I kind of
gems in
like
a
this
lot
because
of
there
new
was almost like
ways.
too many places to
One of the
craft
options you can
items
now
and
choose is to
enchants
turn
and
a
all
skill
that
gem
kind of
into one
stuff.
3 Transfigured Gems. But that isn't all the Divine Font can do.
Then it gives
It has
people
a lot
more of a
other
reason to
gem
run
crafting options
labs.
you can use. For example, you can add quality to
Which from my
gems,
understanding, a
add
lot of people
experience
didn't
to
do.
gems, sacrifice a gem for 1 or more treasure keys to
Oh,
open
you
a
can
jar
even
of
level your
chests,
gems there
and you
too.
can even exchange support gems for exceptional support gems like Empower or Enlighten. These are just some of the options you'll find the Divine Font is now capable of. In order to replace the rewards in Heist that previously gave alternate quality gems, we have done a rebalance of the rewards of Heist as well. Experimented base types have been rebalanced. New replica uniques have been added and old ones changed, and we have increased the amount of currency from display cases as well. On top of this, we have gone through and buffed the quality stats on most damage dealing skills. In most cases, they will be significantly more powerful than before, and also more interesting. Overall, this is one of the largest metagame shifts that we've ever done. There are so many crazy new skill combinations to plan around, so we expect to see some really interesting new builds.
I think we're gonna see quite a few
Next
new
up,
interesting
I'd like to hand
builds.
back over to Chris to talk about the new supporter packs.
At this point, we'd usually talk about the League supporter packs. We're doing things a bit differently this year. Rather than releasing League
This is
supporter packs today
microtransaction
and then our
stuff.
annual
Okay.
core packs 2 weeks later, we've
Well, I'm excited. Seems like there's gonna be a lot of new builds coming up. A lot more theory crafting to go on. I'm still kind of conflicted on what I want to do next league, so Still kind of thinking on that. Let me know if you guys have a specific build that you're planning on running as your league starter. Tell me why you like it, all that kind of stuff. If you'd recommend it for a newer player. I'm still kind of between trying Bone Shatter again and just kind of getting like a head start on the league, or I kind of also want to try like an Explosive Arrow Ranger. But with all these new skill gems, who knows what comes up between like now and the 8th when this league starts. So I'm excited. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next episode.